Welcome. We're live. We apparently have a story. We have a story to go with this recap. We do. So let's just start with that. So Ryan was telling me some story before.
I don't know if it was a story. It was more about a trade that I made.
Well, tell the people
and how it all came to fruition today, kind of, or it's been paying off over the season, but today. So I made a series of trades, and what it turned out to be was Dalvin Cook for Jamar Chase and 2 first-round picks and a second. That's what the final haul came to be, and you know what Jamar Chase did today. I think we could lead with that as well.
We do. He had 201 yards. I actually wrote about it. One of my articles in my Sunday Six Pack this week, which I will put the link, was about the Bengals wide receiving core. And I discussed that Jamar Chase was basically beyond reproach, but that the other guys would have maybe some issues. And, let's just say that Jamar Chase delivered even more. But yeah, he delivered. So, yeah. Jamar Chase is your Dynasty wide receiver.
At least top 3.
He's one.
He's one for me, but he's at least top. He should at least be in the top 3.
I felt that way before this week.
Oh, so have I. I think we've been preaching Jamar Chase here for a while.
Well, this was wide receiver rank. So I've been every week during the season, I've been rotating. I post a sneak peek of my Dynasty rankings. I'm probably just going to rotate this through the season, posting top 12 every 4 weeks of the position. So this was wide receiver week. So I posted my wide receiver rankings, and I had Chase at 2. Akash was my guest on That's It today.
He's the man. He was the guest on our last one as well.
He has a lot of brain power that I don't have.
Oh, I agree. He was talking. I'm like, I feel like an idiot.
I'm just a pretty face. No, I'm smart too, but I don't. I definitely I rely a lot more on my experience. Sometimes I just kind of. A lot of the stuff that I do is actually practical. Like when I do my Patreon to help people run Dynasty teams, a lot of it is how do you talk to someone and trick them into giving you more value when you're negotiating a trade? A lot of it has nothing to do with player eval. I'm literally holding their hand, being say this, offer that, but you really will accept this. How much above your lowest price do you go on your first offer? I do a lot of that kind of stuff. Which I have a real knack for. I don't know if it's negotiating that I have a knack for or whatever, but for some reason I have a knack for the practical side of Dynasty. So that's actually a lot of what I do, and a lot of where thank you.
So do you, Gosh. So do you.
Yeah, no, they were. He was plugging their Patreon, the Bulletproof Patreon, and they're talking about how they have all of these people, and I was like. Hard for me. It's only one of me. There's one. If I get sick or if I'm busy, if I'm on a date, this happens actually more frequently than you might think, or whatever. I might not be there, and whatever. So it's kind of I have a life on occasion, so I don't have anyone to pick up for me on my Patreon. It's just me. I tried a little thing in my Discord, but guest analyst, that did not work out. So
I was one of those said guest analysts. Yeah, I know.
I've noticed that the guest analysts are very quiet.
I just can't get it. It's the app. I can't get in the Discord.
It doesn't work. Honestly, people sign up for the Patreon to get advice from me. I can't blame them for really. It's a nice thing to
aggregate
content, but I don't even know if anyone's reading it. So I don't know how well that's working, to be honest.
This is very hit or miss.
I'm probably going to kill it once we get to the off season and move on to something else. Okay. So, what do you want a victory lap?
Well, I was victory lapping Jamar Chase. 'Cause remember, Tyler, way back when, he couldn't catch the ball.
He couldn't catch the ball, but they needed to put the white stripes on it, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Jamar Chase. 8 receptions, 201 yards, a touchdown, 10 targets, including an 82-yard touchdown that I will say is one of the plays of the year. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch that one. That one I would watch. That one you'll see.
Incredible.
He broke a tackle. I don't know how. I thought he was down. I didn't even occur to me when I was watching the start of the play that this was going to be a touchdown. I was like, why are they showing this play? And then on red zone. And all of a sudden he's just running away. And I'm like, oh, I see. I see what happened here. So, I mean, I think he's already one of the best receivers in the league, right? At this point.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Easily. I think the one thing going away from Chase for 1 second, I think the most underrated aspect that's going to get swept under the rug maybe is that T. Higgins got 15 targets in this game.
And did little to nothing with them.
I know, but I think Chase is at the top, but T. Higgins is very competent too.
Doesn't look good though. He hasn't looked good all year. He has not looked good. I was not impressed by anything I saw. They were targeting him, but what did he do? I mean, 7 catches for 62 on 15 targets is terrible. That sounds like Tyler Boyd, not T. Higgins. Tyler Boyd did nothing, by the way.
CJ Uzomah, that's who I'm impressed with from this game.
And actually, I talked about that. So I do a Monday hangover article. I write it during the games. It comes out Monday morning. It basically is, I go back to the storylines that I was telling. So the six-pack is essentially a watching guide. You look for those things during the game, and then the Monday hangover is the part 2, where essentially I go back and, okay, what actually happened? What does this mean going forward? And in that one, a lot of what I talked about is that CJ Uzomah is kind of become a problem. He has 5 touchdowns now on the year, and that's going to be an issue because with Chase, essentially, I've often said that Chase is like dropping a DeAndre Hopkins into this offense that maybe we didn't expect. So if you have that, and then you have Uzomah vulturing touchdowns, you kind of have a problem with Higgins and especially Boyd, Boyd I think is unusable at this point. I mean, right? I mean, how can you use him? I just don't. You can't play him.
No.
I mean, if this is what I said this in the article, if this is what Boyd did with 416 passing yards, I mean, that's it. 4 catches for 39 yards is not good enough. It's not good enough. Especially since Joe Mixon didn't do anything in the passing game today. Nothing. I mean, there was 1 catch, but from Samaje Perine, that was everything else was Chase, Higgins, Boyd, Uzomah. No one else. And still, Tyler Boyd fought 4 for 39. It's just not good enough.
Not at all.
No, unacceptable. But yeah,
Jamar I have to ask a question. I don't know how much of this game you watched. Aside from fantasy, are the Bengals legit? Do you think they're legit?
Why not? I mean, Joe Burrow is legit.
Exactly. I agree. I was just asking. I feel like it's a fair question now. I mean, this was an absolute beatdown. This was impressive. 41 points on the Ravens. I
mean, they have a complete offense, really. I mean, what are they missing? They have 3. They have a great trio of receivers. I mean, not many teams have a better one. I mean, Uzomah is satisfactory at tight end. I mean, satisfactory. Drew Sample, he sucks at receiving. He can't do anything like that. But he actually, in the blocking game, he had a key block on the Mixon touch. I think it was the Mixon touchdown.
Yeah, I believe so.
Sample sprung that touchdown. So he contributed. The offensive line was good today. I mean, Burrow only took 1 sack on 38 pass attempts. We'll take that. That's pretty good. And then, the running game, I mean, Mixon looked good again today. Samaje Perine, good. He actually looked good. Where was this Samaje Perine for the last 4 years? He actually looked good. And then Chris Evans didn't contribute today, but he's a good third. I mean, if that's their RB3, he actually looked good as a receiver. He could contribute if there was ever an injury to Perine. Evans, you can't replace Mixon, but if there were an injury to Perine, Evans could contribute as a complementary piece or a pass catcher. So really, the offense, what is it missing? Really not missing anything. I mean, it has everything you would want.
A key piece in the O-line would be nice, but that might be getting a little nitpicky, but that's about it.
The O-line was good today. I mean, against the Ravens, only 1 sack on 38 pass attempts is pretty good.
It is pretty good, but I don't know. I just don't quite trust the talent on it yet. But
a lot better than the Ravens' offensive line today. Ravens' offensive line today was not good. Not good at all. 5 sacks is not good. The running game, other than Lamar Jackson made some plays on his own, but the running backs didn't do anything in the rushing attack today. It was bad. You started Devonta Freeman. You got lucky. He fell into the end zone.
He did fall in the end zone.
But yeah, no. What are your other big things? Because we always hear from me. People are tired of me.
Well, I asked about the top of the AFC, so let's ask about a team closer to the bottom. How about the Kansas City Chiefs today?
Yeah, no, it was bad.
Wow.
It was bad. I mean, there's no other way to look at it, right? It was bad. You can't. Are there any good takeaways from this game? Anything?
I don't think there's any good takeaways from the Chiefs side, at least. Obviously, the other side, Derrick Henry's always a positive.
Not really, actually. Not really. I wrote about this in the article too. Not really. This was not a good game from Derrick Henry. I mean, just they gave him 29 carries, but he did nothing with them. Nothing with them today. I mean, he only had 86 yards and 29 carries. Did he even have any big runs? I don't remember any.
I believe so, but
there's maybe, I think, one 13-yard run in there. But
at this point in season, at least in season long and redraft, you're plugging him in, you're guaranteeing yourself around 20 points. And with it,
didn't give you 20 today.
He was close.
No, he wasn't. I mean, he was at 12.2.
I guess my league scores
probably at points per carry.
No, it didn't score it scored the passing touchdown at 6 because he threw for.
There was I forgot about the passing.
He started off the game with a passing touchdown.
Oh right, there was a passing touchdown.
So
yeah,
it was. So okay, it wasn't as close to 20 as because I'm looking at my league settings for the fantasy points.
Well, then it would be 16.2.
Yeah, 16. Yeah.
But I love seeing Darrington Evans get involved. I will say that. I liked that.
This was his first week back of IR, right?
Yes, it was. And I just like seeing it. You know, he follows me on Twitter. I'm sorry, it might be a little bit biased. I might be a little bit biased toward Darrington Evans.
Fantasy football Twitter loves Darrington Evans. So
no, only I love Darrington Evans. Nobody loved Darrington Evans.
There's a couple of
people. Did I suddenly start counting for 20 people? Because I don't remember people loving Darrington Evans. I think I was the only one. I don't remember that. I'm very loud. It's possible that I count for 20 people, but I don't think so.
I gotta remember who it was. Maybe I'll think.
It was me. It was me.
You were definitely. I think it was
me. I mean, I had him 50 spots above ADP. I wrote a whole article on him. I think it was me.
1 second. Let me check my underdog roster ship for best balls. So before the season,
I didn't do any of those, so I can tell you.
I
am concerned about this though because Darrington Evans had 2 catches. Jeremy Mcnichols had 1. Derrick Henry had 2. I don't know. I am concerned that Derrick Henry is going to lose the receiving work again. And if he loses the receiving work again, he's still going to be good, but he's not going to be what he was at the first 5 weeks. First 6 weeks, I guess.
Yeah. It was 4-week span there. So I have the numbers up. I got to count it out. He is 8th, my 8th most rostered running back on Underdog.
Well, he certainly hasn't done you any good.
For the last round, it could be a miss in that aspect.
Yeah.
Because I was picking him in the last round because of the potential at the point.
Also, you can probably eliminate a few things from the Tennessee side of this game. You can just go and eliminate Anthony Ferkser from your roster entirely. You just eliminate him. You don't need him. He can go. He is a waste of time. 27 passes, 1 measly target for 9 yards. Michael Pruitt had 3. 2 catches. You can just go and eliminate Anthony Ferkser from your roster completely. You can just cut him. I don't care what the format is. You can cut him. There's just no reason. There's no reason to have Anthony Ferkser on your roster. None.
No.
And then Jeremy Mcnichols, I think his time is up. He can go too. He had his time and now it's over. So no carries, one target. That's just not good enough. So
the other thing. I know he was back last week, but A.J. Brown.
Yeah, he was one of the pieces in the article. I mean, I talked about him. I said he was back, and now he's back again.
I hope people didn't panic. People are panicking a little bit earlier in the season on AJ Brown.
I don't think people panicked on AJ Brown.
I saw at least in my feed. I'll just say that.
I didn't see anything like that.
Maybe it wasn't widespread, but I did see a couple of people.
It was not widespread.
Okay.
It was. We didn't get to that point. We were a couple weeks away. We never got there.
A couple weeks away, and I could transition in a couple people if you wanted to talk about them.
Do it. Yeah, talk about it.
Do we need to bring up Allen Robinson again?
No, actually, there's no reason to talk about Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson, if you're in redraft, you can cut Allen Robinson. I'm not saying you have to cut Allen Robinson. You can. If it's necessary, if you have to, if it's a shallow league, if there are better options, you do not have to roster Allen Robinson anymore. You can cut him. Now, I'm not saying you must cut him, but you can. Don't feel like you have to roster Allen Robinson because there is no point. None at all. He's not even trying. Justin Fields looks horrible. Allen Robinson doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be there. He never wanted to be there. And, this is something that happens in the NFL, right? I mean, he's going to get paid either way. He's going to get paid if he gives 50% effort or 80% or 100%. He's still going to get paid. He didn't care. They're not going to win. What difference does it make to him? He should give half effort and then try to make money in free agency. Why risk an injury? Who gives a shit? He obviously didn't want to be there. He wasn't happy with the franchise tag. And I think he would have done something about it if there had been any cap space this offseason, but he had no leverage. What was he going to do? So it is what it is. Sit out. How could he sit out? I mean, he sit out and forfeit $18 million? I mean,
I'm saying he couldn't.
I'm not going to forfeit $18 million.
There was a bright spot for the Bears today. Khalil Herbert.
What was that? Oh, I must have missed. It was so bad.
It was bad, but Khalil Herbert had 18 carries for 100 yards.
Right. That was a bright spot. I mean, that is good. Also, 5 receptions for 33. Exactly. It's good.
That's about it.
It was the only bright spot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, only. But still, I mean, Damien Williams was back today, and Khalil Herbert.
No, Damien Williams was not back. He was on the COVID list until Saturday.
I thought he got activated.
He was not. He didn't practice all week, so it's not a surprise that he only had 3 carries. So he wasn't really back. I talked about this with Akash earlier. It's like Damien Williams. I was like, Damien Williams is not really going to play, and clearly I got it right. Like with the carry split and everything, because Damien Williams he couldn't have participated in this week's practice. When you're on the COVID list, you can't come to the facility. So. Yeah. I don't know. When is Montgomery coming back? Do we know?
I do not know yet. I haven't really heard anything.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything either, and that's not a good sign.
It's never a good sign.
Here's an article that says his knee is getting better every day, but I don't think it's next week. I think week 8 is not going to happen. I wonder when the Bears bye is. I don't know that off the top of my head. Let's see. The Bears bye is in week 10. Okay, so my guess is it's 2 more weeks. He misses the bye in week 10, and then he's back for week 11 would be my guess. He's not going to be back for week 8, which is next week. Week 9, highly questionable. I would lean no. I mean, he was talking about being a few weeks away this week. So I think it's going to be multiple weeks.
I agree. I mean, but still, that whole backfield's going to be a mess. We talked about that on an earlier show.
We did. And I think that Khalil Herbert has certainly earned a role moving forward. We did. Yeah. Especially and I stand by that defense. Which defense?
On this defense, Tampa Bay, 100 yards on it. It's impressive. I know it is. They're probably playing heavy against the pass, though, but still, it's still impressive.
Well, okay. It's time I think we have to have this conversation. It's time to talk about Justin Fields. This is not good. Not good. I mean, this was Allen Robinson multiple times again, wide open. Just missed it. Just didn't see it. There were other issues. 3 interceptions. Some of these were just not an NFL caliber quarterback. I mean, we're talking about I'm not sure I remember the exact state of the there were a lot of interceptions today, but pretty sure one of them was just horrible. And this was just, I mean, was there any positive takeaway from Justin Fields' performance? Anything?
No, I mean, you could argue the rushing yards potentially, but like, is that really
rushing yards? Yeah, those unfortunately those were not enough points to make up for the 3 interceptions that he threw.
No, so I'm reaching here. There's not really anything, but that's a reach.
No, not good, not good. And we have a problem here. We have a problem here because this is just not going to work. I mean, this is so bad. Like, I thought Zach Wilson was bad, but Justin Fields is a new level of bad. Zach Wilson got hurt today. That's a whole other thing. But
yeah,
I mean, Justin Fields is just not. I mean, I can't. I don't know how you proceed moving forward at this point. How do you move forward? I mean, at this point, to add these 3 interceptions, now we're going to be on 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions for the season. He added an additional 4 sacks to go with the 18 he already had in 4 starts. Not good.
I'm pretty sure he lost 2 fumbles today as well. I believe he had 3
fumbled 3 times and lost 2 of them.
It's not good.
So he was responsible for 5 turnovers today. Look, I am hitting the panic button. This is unacceptable. Unacceptable. I don't care that Matt Nagy is a terrible head coach. At some point, you have to show something. When we valued this guy, Justin Fields, as in Superflex for most people. Some people were saying before the preseason that they should have him as a first-round startup pick. Most people had him somewhere in the second, whether it's early or late. You cannot have him somewhere in the second anymore.
No.
I mean, at this point, with Justin Fields, I mean, it's just brutal to rank him. I mean, would you rather have in Dynasty Justin Fields or Deshaun Watson at this point? I think that's where we are. I think that's where we are.
Ooh, I don't know.
I think that's where we are because the reason I bring up Deshaun Watson is because I think it's pretty clear. I think it's clear that Mahomes, Kyler, Allen, Lamar, Herbert, Dak, Lawrence, Burrow, Stafford, Russell Wilson, and Trey Lance. It's clear. Those are ahead of Justin Fields. Those players are ahead of him. And then I have Deshaun Watson at 13. And then I think it's still pretty clear that Jalen Hurts, Mack Jones, Zach Wilson, Aaron Rodgers because of the age, and then guys like Kirk Cousins, those are probably still behind Justin Fields, even after a few bad games. So it's really Fields versus Watson, who I have is hard to value.
See, I feel like Watson's value is going to get bumped up in, 9-ish days?
You think so? Oh, you think the trade's coming?
I think the trade's coming. I don't know if he's going to.
Where do you think it's going?
I think it's Miami. I think Miami's a total pick. They just lost to the Falcons today, and
another one of my storylines in that article was Tua's last chance, and I felt bad for him because he actually played a good game, but it won't matter.
It won't matter. Yeah.
It won't matter. It won't make one bit of difference that he played a good game.
I still think Tua starts somewhere.
I do too, and I said that in the article. But
won't be Miami though.
What's the track record? What's the track record of quarterbacks who leave location A because they failed and then move on to location B and become successful? How many of those guys are there? Ryan Tannehill, name one other.
Oh, you took the easy one on me.
I took the only one. Sam Darnold, how is that going now? Josh Rosen, same team. Trade to the Dolphins after failing in Arizona. He never got another chance ever again. He was a complete bust. And, try to name one example other than Ryan Tannehill in the last 10 years where that's ever worked out, where you wash out of location A. How is the Jameis Winston experiment really going in New Orleans? Not.
You got me on 10 years. I don't know how. You got me on the 10 years.
How far do you have to go back? I mean, who's the last guy who really failed?
Brees, that was injury, though, wasn't it?
But Drew Brees didn't fail. Drew Brees was a Pro Bowler for the Chargers 2 times. And then he got injured when they were about to offer him a contract extension because he was playing so well. Even after they drafted Phillip Rivers, he hurt his shoulder. And then the Saints gave him a 6-year, $90 million contract. That's not a failure. Like, that's
I think I'm misremembering something. Definitely there.
Yeah, you are. But that's like before you were. That's like you were a baby.
Yeah, that's before I even knew like football was.
Yeah, no.
I definitely
No, the reason there was such a controversy is because they drafted Phillip Rivers in the first round in 2004, and then Drew Brees, was the bridge starter, and he came out and played like a Pro Bowler.
They didn't draft Phillip Rivers. They drafted Eli Manning.
Sure, but you know what?
And then he said,
whatever. They had Phillip Rivers, but then they didn't play him because Drew Brees literally played at a Pro Bowl level and was the comeback player of the year in 2004. So, but I'm serious. Like, think of one example other than Ryan Tannehill, because he's the one where they failed as a rookie and failed out of that location and then went to another one and became a franchise quarterback. Are there any, like, looking at the quarterbacks in the league now? I mean, who of these really meets that criteria? Nobody. There aren't any. So, yeah, it's going to be, if he goes to another team, his odds of success are slim to none.
Yeah, but there will be a trade window that you could trade him away if you still.
I think if you're just looking, I recommended trading him now. If you just look at the fantasy points, he had a great week. That interception he threw in the fourth quarter, that's all people are going to remember. That interception cost them the game. He had a couple good drives after that, but no one's going to care. If he doesn't throw that interception, maybe they win. But that interception is the difference between winning and losing. And they lost.
Yep.
And that's all that matters in the NFL, is that they lost. So, they lost to Atlanta.
Shout out Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts had a huge game. Kyle Pitts, that's someone I was really intrigued by in this game. They actually, funnily enough, Tua didn't even play bad. It's just I worry that he just didn't play well enough.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
They've one win. They don't have their draft pick.
Yeah, they don't have time for this. Yeah, he's not. I think we know what Tua's not. And he's not going to make a bad team good. He's not that. I mean, Tua's ceiling is what to you?
Oh, gosh. I don't know what
not his fantasy ceiling. Like, what is Tua's best case scenario? That he becomes
an above average starter.
Above average, so
miles shorter of the guy that was picked after him.
What? He's never going to become that. Jimmy.
That would work.
I think
maybe a little higher, but
I kind of think his ceiling is like kind of what I wouldn't even say Kirk Cousins has given you. I don't think his ceiling's that high. I don't think he's ever going to give you what Kirk Cousins, almost 5,000 yard seasons. I don't think he's ever going to give you that. I think his ceiling is more like what Derek Carr has given us. Some good play from time to time. When he's really on, he can be really good, but then we have whole stretches, whole years of bad.
Yeah.
So I think that Derek Carr is like his ceiling. And I think his floor is just, his floor is out of the league. His floor is just nothing. Yeah. So he could be Jared Goff, I guess, is his floor. Terrible quarterback who hangs on to a starting job for a while.
Then, becomes a backup somewhere probably.
Yeah. No, Jared Goff is not going to wash out of the NFL.
He'll be around.
Yeah, he'll be around his back. He is fine. He's
fine. I don't see the ceiling getting any higher than that.
No, I think Derek Carr was a good, I don't say it's the same play style, but I think kind of that type of player, that quality is a good idea of what his ceiling is. He could deliver that, but not someone you're going to be excited about, not someone who's going to win games for you, not that kind of player. There were so many things in this game. I mean, yeah, Kyle Pitts, 7 for 163.
Finally.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's forget Superflex for a second. Positional players. Name everyone you would take over Kyle Pitts.
In just the regular format, PPR,
no premium. Yeah, no premium, regular format. Name every player that you would take over Kyle Pitts.
And what you said, 1 QB, correct?
1 QB, yeah. Forget Superflex for a second. That makes it harder. Just compare him to running backs and wide receivers. Obviously, he's the tight end one.
He's obviously the tight end one. I'd probably take Chase over him at this moment.
Chase?
Yeah.
You would take over him. Jefferson.
See, that's where we're getting close, which is kind of astounding because he offers you so much value.
Yeah. I would still take Jefferson.
I think Chase is the 101 and 1 QB right now.
Would you take any running backs over him? Running backs are hard to find. Would you take any running backs?
That's a tough question. I don't know. JT would be the one that would.
JT is the one I would consider.
Exactly. I agree. There's no one else I'd really consider. I mean, I have DeAndre Swift after JT, but I still think I'd take Kyle Pitts.
I'm not after JT. So. No, I think I'm looking at it now, and I think the way I think about it is I think I'm going to end up having him at 5 overall. I'm going to have Chase, Jefferson, Lamb, and JT ahead, and everyone else behind. I'm at 5.
I get behind that.
I was thinking you just have a 21-year-old tight end. Tight end, difference makers tight end are hard to find. You really think you're better off with 2 years older Najee Harris long term? No. You really think you're better off with DeAndre Swift, who, he has a lot of explosive plays within timeshare? No. I barely even debate if you're better off with Jonathan Taylor or CeeDee Lamb. I think those two are close. The only two where I'm really sure are Chase and Jefferson that I would definitely want over him. I think he's in the next group with Lamb and Taylor for me. Much rather have him over Tyreek Hill, who I also have up there. So Kyle Pitts would be top 5 then for me.
I agree. Look how far we come on some of these takes. Like we said earlier, Jamar Chase can't catch in the preseason. Kyle Pitts had those slow start, and now we're right where we're supposed to be. First round of the Dynasty draft in QB leagues.
But yeah, I have him below Christian McCaffrey before I've updated my rates. That's going to change. I have him below DJ Moore. That's going to change. I'm below AJ Brown. I like AJ Brown a lot. Don't get me wrong. But I'd rather have Kyle Pitts for the positional scarcity. I just don't think AJ Brown is that much of he's not good enough at wide receiver to have him over Kyle Pitts. There are many people who could be AJ Brown, but there's one Kyle Pitts. That's the thing. There's 7 top receivers, but there's one Kyle Pitts. So you have to kind of, and in a premium, let's say it was a 1.75 tight end premium, Kyle Pitts would be your highest asset period.
In non-superflex, yeah.
Well, yeah, forget about comparing him to quarterbacks.
Yeah,
in 1.75, so trade addict style scoring, he would be higher than any positional player for you?
Yes.
Yes, he would for me as well. And I think I would have him. I still think in Superflex, I would have my 8 quarterbacks 1 through 8, and then I would just have Pitts 9.
Yeah, I get behind that one as well.
It's just, given the middle of the quarterback landscape is really bad. Now I've lost Fields as someone I'm comfortable with. Now I'm down to 11 quarterbacks instead of 12 that I really want. And one of them's hurt in Russell Wilson. So I really want one of those top 8 badly. And I'd love to have 2, but I really want one. And I don't want to leave my draft without them.
They need at least one, but
I want one
right after. Yeah. And you could scout for college scouting, you could scout 2 years out to athletic testing at the bare minimum. How many tight ends are going to test like Kyle Pitts? He's the only one. Exactly. None. You have that. You have the draft capital, and I know the landing spot.
The only difference is the reason why I want the quarterbacks is you can't find Kyle Pitts, but you can find a tight end that you can put in cheap. You cannot find a quarterback that you can put in.
Dawson Knox and Dalton Schultz are basically free at the start of the season.
Dalton Schultz was completely free. Dawson Knox was mostly free.
Close enough, you know what I mean? But
these were available for less than a 3rd round pick. Mm-hmm. And even if you say you couldn't see it coming, Jared Kulk was basically free this offseason, and he's produced something. It's like he's produced borderline tight end 1 numbers. I mean, you could have had Mike Gesicki for a second this offseason. Easily. So you can find, but just finding a quarterback is not so, in Superflex hard. Especially now that the quarterback landscape is starting to become more top heavy.
Yeah.
I want one of those top guys. But
and especially after this year.
Yeah. No,
we have no like Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance type prospects coming in either.
No, there aren't. There aren't.
It's gonna get even more top heavy till 23.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to say about this game, or just anything else in general? Because like I want the people to hear your thoughts. They hear from me obviously more than anyone.
Well, I think we have to talk about what happened in Foxborough today too. Whatever happened.
About it. I wrote about that game too. Actually, I wrote about both sides of the ball. One about Jacoby Myers and one about Michael Carter.
Can this man just like score yet? I'm checking to make sure that he didn't score. And I didn't see.
He didn't score because I wrote about it. I wrote about it in the article, so I know I checked.
We would have seen it on Twitter if he scored. Twitter would have just went erupt.
No, 100% we would have seen it. The thing. So okay, what's your takeaway on New England, and then I can go after you.
I mean, I'm liking Damien Harris a lot.
Well, forgetting a big thing that happened here. Ramondre Stevenson was inactive. What about that?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That's kind of a big deal. That's before we talk about Damien Harris. I feel like we have to give the people that context. Ramondre Stevenson was inactive again. Yeah.
The trade window was there in the preseason. It was right
there this week. I recommended, before I knew he'd be inactive, I recommended him as like a spot start this week against the Jets.
I mean, it was
Turns out my process was very right. JJ Taylor scored 2 touchdowns. I had it right.
Well, you even had it right because even Brandon Bolden got involved. All the running backs got involved this week. I know it was more as a receiver, and Ramondre Stevenson's not a receiver. I understand that, but actually,
Ramondre Stevenson was a receiver.
He was.
Well, he caught passes. He's caught more passes than Damien Harris, I think.
Well, yeah, I remember that one. What was his career total before the season? Like 4?
Oh, yeah, it was
really bad. It was really down there. But yeah, they all got involved. They all scored. 2 of them scored twice. I mean, Mack Jones looked pretty decent. 24 for 36, 307 yards and 2 touchdowns.
No, I'd actually say he looked more than pretty decent. I think we're in a discussion now. I mean, I think it's a discussion. I think it's a fair discussion. At this point, Mack Jones, I mean, I'd rather have him over like failures like Darnold and Baker and all. I mean, he's way above those guys. Mack Jones or Zach Wilson?
Even with the injury, I feel like I just want to take the chance on Zach Wilson.
You can take it. You can take the chance on Zach Wilson.
I understand.
You can take that chance by yourself.
Probably.
I'm good. I'll take Mack Jones. Mack Jones or Aaron Rodgers? Superflex Dynasty.
Superflex Dynasty. That would depend on context for me, honestly.
Not for me. I'm taking Mack Jones no matter what. If you ask me Zach Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, that would depend on context. Mack Jones is too valuable to me.
Maybe I'm just behind the wave on Mack Jones.
You are, and I think I was too. And I think I have to change that. Mack Jones or Jalen Hurts? I was behind the times on this one.
See, we had this discussion. This is where I'd go Mack Jones, even though Jalen Hurts.
No, I'd go Mack Jones too.
That's I think Jalen Hurts loses his job, and like I don't know.
No, but this is what I'm saying. Like
there's so much uncertainty.
Rankings of mine need to change. Like I think more of a discussion to me is: are we at the point of Mack Jones versus Justin Fields? Like, are we there? How close is that? I think it's not that far off. How many more good games from Mack Jones and bad games from Justin Fields would it take for those rankings to change? How many? Because it's not 20. It's not 10. Is it 1? 2? It's not 10. I don't even think it's 5. Is it 1, 2, 3? I mean, what is it?
It's got to be in that range. I mean, I'm looking at the schedule right now. I mean, if he impresses against the Chargers and Herbert, like, I think, at least for Mack Jones having a good game, I think that could become a discussion then.
Well, I mean, for me, like, when it comes to the quarterback tiers, coming into the week, I had Justin Fields in with Stafford, Russell Wilson, and Lance. That is going to change. Now he's going to join the group of Watson, Hurts, Mack Jones, Zach Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. But I don't know.
I don't know what's going on there.
It's tough. I mean, I want Mack Jones. I feel like I want Mack Jones more than Justin Fields.
If you have an impulse to do it, just do it honestly, because
that seems so reactionary.
I know, but sometimes you have to do it. Like, okay, so I could keep referring to Jamar Chase all show. If you were reactionary with the drops on Jamar Chase,
you got it wrong. Yeah,
you missed out big time. Same with Kyle Pitts. You missed huge. But like those are different situations.
I think I'm more likely to be reactionary with a quarterback because Justin Fields looks terrible. Whereas Jamar Chase, just because he dropped the ball didn't mean he looked bad.
Not according to Twitter, but
no. But the thing is with a quarterback, they touch the ball on every play. Your sample size is bigger. With a wide receiver, it's harder. You get a few looks in the preseason. What does that tell you? Does that tell you as much? With a quarterback in a regular season game, it's easier to judge. A wide receiver is often judged on one drop. Whereas Justin Fields, did you do anything good today? The whole game was bad. And we have 5 turnovers to go through. I could go through each turnover. I don't think I have to.
No, it's getting to that point. I mean, I hope he didn't have him on one QB. Like he was long droppable on one QB, but in redraft.
It's getting to the point where I'm no longer willing to just give Justin Fields the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, some people thought he was the QB1 in this class.
I was not one of those people. I think I know who you're referencing. A couple people.
You know, it's the same people I warned them about Antonio Gibson. I warned these people.
You warned me too. I was in on Trevor Lawrence over a few.
I warned people about. I was like, "This is the easiest decision you've ever had to make, and people are still gonna mess it up." It was the same thing with Chase too. I was like, "This is the easiest decision ever at wide receiver 1 in this class. This is so easy. This is like there's no decision. This is the easiest decision of all time, and some people are still gonna mess it up." I'm like. Sometimes people just want to be contrarian and they outthink themselves. They think about it too much, and they sometimes it really is that easy. Like with Trevor Lawrence as QB1 in this class, it was just that easy. It wasn't hard. He was the best quarterback. It was easy, but people need something to talk about. They need something to debate.
I know the discussion was all Chase versus everyone. The discussion in the offseason should have been Chase versus Pitts, and that would have been a logical.
That would have been interesting.
It would have been a very interesting.
That would have been an interesting discussion,
and you wouldn't have been wrong either way. So like,
no. I mean, if you took Najee Harris at the 101, yeah, would you rather have had Chase? Yes,
you would rather. You wouldn't be just
exactly with Najee Harris's work. Find me workhorse running backs in Dynasty. Find them. Where are they? Find me one actually. Find me one other than Najee Harris. Really, who's playing as a workhorse this year? Derrick Henry, and that's it.
Yeah.
Find me one. I mean, Christian McCaffrey's injured. Dalvin Cook missed time. Derrick Henry has been the one, I mean, Jonathan Taylor, Jonathan Taylor's not a workhorse. And DeAndre Swift, certainly not. So find me one other than Najee Harris.
Can't really accept Derrick Henry.
You can't be upset with that pick, even though.
You can't be upset.
Sure, but you'd rather have Jamar Chase.
You'd rather it, but you're like, hey, I didn't pick Justin Fields or, instead.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If in Superflex, you bucked the odds and went with a positional player at not quarterback at 102 and 103, you're laughing to the bank.
You are having a good time in your dynasty league, right?
I hope you pick Trey Lance over Justin Fields, which is not, by the way, there's no victory lap because that's not what I said to do. I was very insistent that you should take Justin Fields over Trey Lance. And I don't want to say I got it wrong about Trey Lance because he hasn't done anything. So, but I think I got it wrong with Justin Fields. I like Justin Fields too much.
It happens.
With
prospects.
Lawrence. But I think I got it wrong on Justin Fields. I was someone who said Justin Fields was going to be great. I don't think I got that right.
I think a lot of us were in that camp because the tape was so good. Everything was good, and then he fell in the draft, and he probably got in one of the worst situations possible that he could have.
Yeah, like I always have to remember, like I was low on Justin Fields in our little tiny bubble, which is like at the Justin Fields fan club. But like compared to the average Dynasty player, I was very high on Justin Fields. Like I was saying, take him at 102 in Superflex rookie drafts all day. And that wasn't consensus. Or, I mean, it was consensus, but it wasn't firm consensus. There were people saying Lance, people saying Harris, people saying Chase, and people even saying Pitts. Premium tight end. Prime premium, anyway.
I mean.
So I led people astray there. I mean, at this point, it's clear that I led people astray. So, I'm sorry. I thought Justin Fields was a good prospect, but he has not been good.
We all don't hit 100 on all of our stuff. You could
no,
look back
nobody hits 100. I just don't. I wouldn't want to compound the error by going to Mack Jones now, right before.
No, if you have Fields, you have to hold. You have to.
Well, I
don't think you want to get out.
I don't agree with that at all. There are people. Oh, please. I mean, if Matt or Spence were in my league, Justin Fields would be off my team tomorrow. Like, all you have to do is find someone who believed in Fields and who isn't me and isn't super reactionary like I am. And I guarantee you I could get more for Fields than I think he's worth. Like, you're telling me that Spencer Matt, who had Fields at QB1 in this class, wouldn't give me Mack Jones plus for Fields now? I think they would.
I mean, you're not wrong. Of course, if you find the right person, you get any deal done. That is a true point.
Right, but you only need one. And
you only need
one Fields truther, and it felt like everyone.
There was a lot of people. I mean, I never had that.
Saying. Like, I feel like I would trade Fields because I feel like I could.
What do you think Fields is worth right now?
Well, I just told you what I would try to do. I would trade him for Mack Jones plus.
Yeah, but that's what you try to do, not what you think he's. What do you think he's actually like?
I think he's worth less than Mack Jones.
Okay.
To me, at this point, I think so. I don't think I need to see any more games. I think I'm already there. What is Fields worth? I mean, what's a quarterback in that range worth, really? 2 random firsts, honestly? Probably. That's what a quarterback in that range is worth. 2 random firsts or so. And I'm not paying it.
I'm not paying 2 random firsts. I don't know.
I mean, would you give 2 random firsts for Deshaun Watson?
I would not. I don't think I would.
I probably would. As much as I really don't want to, but that's more. Sometimes I have to separate what I would personally do because I don't really want Deshaun Watson on my Dynasty team. It's mine. But I'm giving Patreon advice, and they're asking me. You know, some people don't have any problem with rostering Deshaun Watson. So I would tell them to probably do the 2 random first Watson. It's tough, though.
It's tough. When you're trading out picks, you just got to go with the gut.
Yeah, but that's what Fields – I mean, like Stafford and Russell Wilson and even Lance are still worth 2 firsts or more. Maybe not much more.
I think they're a little more.
A little more. Fields is probably worth a touch less.
Yeah. I mean, Stafford and Russ have the resume, and then Trey Lance has the untapped potential, and he had 18 carries in his one game that he played. Like, that's a selling point.
I just think that with Fields, the better move is to pivot at quarterback. I mean, maybe I could trade Fields for Russell Wilson straight up because Wilson's injured. I'd probably do it and just take the known. Even with the age, just take the known because this disaster. I mean, if you had gotten out, let me put you back in time for a second.
Oh, we're going back in the time machine.
No, we're not going back in time very far. We're going back in time last year. If you'd gotten out from Tua after the first 3 games and just been like, I've seen enough. I don't believe it. I'm good. I want to move on. How happy would you be right now?
You would be ecstatic.
You'd be ecstatic. You could have gotten at that point, you could have gotten something like Matthew Stafford and 2 firsts. Something crazy. There were Tua believers. You could have gotten 3 firsts. You could have gotten, I mean, there were so many things you could have done. You could have gotten out from Tua. You know, you could have possibly still traded like Tua and a first for Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
How happy would you be with that now?
Oh my gosh, you'd be over the moon, especially after today with 400
yards. You would be over the moon. You would be so excited if you had sold Tua and just been like, I'm done. I don't believe. I want to move on. and get out before everyone panics. So with Fields, it's like it's been so bad that it's tough.
It's risk versus reward, basically.
I don't know what the reward is anymore.
You don't, but
also it's time to start going back to the fact that the NFL people didn't like Fields at all, and
maybe this is them dunking on us Twitter scouts.
Maybe we don't want to admit that they might have been right because they were right about Jalen Waddle. Sorry, they were right. He looked really good to pick him at 6th overall. They were
the trade's another thing, but 6 overall.
They were right about Kadarius Toney. They were right. They were right, and we were wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You see, there might be a pattern here. Draft capital is kind of important.
Draft capital.
No, I think draft capital is very underrated. I mean, we laughed in their face about Kadarius Toney, and who's laughing now? We laughed in their face about Jalen Waddle, and who's laughing now?
The people who picked him at the end of the 1st and the start of the 3rd.
And we were like, you got to pick him. Why didn't you pick Terrace Marshall in the 1st round? Why didn't you pick Elijah Moore in the 1st round? Who's laughing now?
Not me, because I was one of those people. I was like, Terrace Marshall has a perfect analytic profile or whatever. Not perfect. Jamar Chase is perfect, but he had a good analytic profile.
But Terrace Marshall's done nothing.
Exactly. So I deserve to be laughed at for that. You know what I mean?
Right. They're laughing at us.
They're laughing at us. Yeah.
They're laughing at us. Yeah. They're laughing at the smart Twitter people. That's what we are. They're laughing at us. Seriously though, if anyone tells you that draft capital is not important, just don't listen to anything else they say. Draft capital is the most predictive metric for whether a prospect succeeds by double the next thing. So just those draft capital is very important. So just keep that in mind, and always give 1st round picks a chance because you never know. NFL people are. We can bag on them all we want, but they're paid a lot of money to do this. So
I mean, and plus with the leash that the 1st round picks get for playing time,
that's part of it too. When you get multiple chances.
I mean, I saw N'Keal Harry out in the field today for the Patriots. I know it was a blowout, but
he had a contested catch. He's someone who could be moved. The trade deadline is coming up. He's someone I think they clearly don't need him.
No,
they have. He's like their 6th receiving weapon. They have 2 tight ends and 3 receivers ahead of him. They don't need Harry. Harry could be traded. He's someone I'd like to see moved.
Where'd you like to see him go?
And Harry's the kind of person where anywhere would be better. It cannot be worse.
Anywhere is stuck up. I agree.
Maybe
New Orleans.
It's gonna be someone who needs whatever Harry is, someone who doesn't separate contested catch receiver, who's short at receiver depth, and probably I would say a contender, but Harry, I don't know how much Harry's gonna help. Who could trade for him?
I think the Saints maybe.
I was thinking, not really the Steelers. I don't know why I was thinking that. The Saints? Yeah, maybe. If Michael Thomas is really far away. Falcons, honestly.
Falcons, yeah.
That's something they would do. Not many teams really need him, honestly.
Nothing off the top, but
the Packers maybe could take a chance on him. They don't really need him.
Then they'll bench Randall Cobb a little bit, and Aaron Rodgers won't be happy about that one. So I don't think they can risk that.
I think the Saints are the most likely. Honestly,
if we knew more about Michael Thomas, maybe there'd be another team showing up. But
the Saints are the one that makes the most sense to me. But we'll see. I don't know. You never know with these trades. Anything is really possible.
Totally. Anything else from this week?
Anything else from this week? No. Sam Darnold got benched. That was bad.
Bring that one up.
Yeah, that was bad. That was really bad.
How about that option there, Tyler?
Let's go through the quarterbacks. Let's go through failures. If in Dynasty, these failures. So we have failures. Would you rather Darnold Baker, Wentz, or Daniel Jones, or Tua? What about those players? So those are kind of those are failures, right? I mean, essentially those players, they're not, they're multiple years and mostly bad. Darnold, Baker, Jones, Wentz, and Tua. A lot of failure there.
I mean, I feel like I want to pick two out of that group. I don't really want to pick any of them, of course, but
yeah, I used to have Darnold ranked higher than the others, but not after this week.
He's not getting another chance anywhere else. I mean,
no. Some of those players are going to start in 2022. So, okay, we'll play this game. You only get to answer with yes or no.
All right.
And the question will be, does this player start for an NFL team week 1, 2022? So yes or no? Sam Darnold?
No.
You say no. Okay. Baker Mayfield?
Yep.
Okay. Daniel Jones?
I think he will. Yeah.
Okay. Carson Wentz?
Yeah.
Good today.
He didn't look good today, but yeah, I think he.
No, he did look good today. Consider the weather. Consider the weather.
I forgot the weather.
Consider how Jimmy looked.
True.
Honestly, he had that one interception, and I laughed and laughed and laughed. And then, he came back and he actually played well enough to win the game.
That's why I said he played, but that flip, the little flip, is just on replay in my mind.
Yeah, actually, that was called a fumble. That wasn't even called an interception. But no, Wentz actually had a really good game, I think, all things considered.
If Reich gets fired,
Reich's not getting fired. They gave him a 6-year contract extension.
So then, yes, he's gonna remain with Wentz. Is he really gonna go through 5 quarterbacks in 5 years?
No, I think that they're gonna stick with Wentz. I think Wentz has shown enough to get one more chance, especially since he's being paid $20 million.
That'll do it. Money talks. I mean, Darnold's getting paid 19, and I think they'll do anything to get out of that.
Tua.
Yeah.
All right, I'll add a couple. Add a couple to this game. Jameis Winston.
No.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Definitely not.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
No.
Jared Goff?
No.
Okay. All right. Last one, and I think this is actually the hardest. Jordan Love.
I'm going to say yes.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Aaron Rodgers to Denver. I mean, there's a couple iffy ones. Like, there's definitely more ones that I was more confident on that list than others. Like,
yeah, I mean, really, when I look at the quarterback rankings, there are I would say 18 or so guys who are guaranteed to start next year. Deshaun Watson would be 19 if he were playing.
Yeah.
And then Brady is 20. But yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty because some of these guys have to start. But yeah, I would say the one I'm the most sure about is Baker. But he's also the one I want the least for fantasy when he's playing.
Mm-hmm.
Baker's the one I'm the most sure. They committed to his 5th-year option. He's been, he led them to the playoffs just last year. I don't think they're going to just start over. They're not going to be bad enough to get a high draft pick.
No.
Baker's the one I'm very sure. I would say it's 95% or more that he's the Browns starting quarterback, barring injury. Injury would be the only thing that stops him if he physically cannot play. But otherwise, I'm very sure that Baker will be the Browns starter. Other than that, I would agree with all your answers if I just had to say yes or no. I would say Darnold, no, and everyone else, yes. Yeah, Jones, I'm more confident in Wentz.
Yeah, I mean, with the coach there, they gave up so much capital. I
find it hard to believe. They seem committed to Wentz, but Jones and Tua are more on the fence for me. Whereas Darnold, I think, after his bench today, is going to be a no.
Yeah,
I think Jones and Tua are on the fence for me.
Do you think Jones would have to start in his own team?
Well, actually, I think they're two very different scenarios. I think Jones either starts for the Giants or not at all, and Tua is not starting for the Dolphins, but is probably actually more likely to start than Jones elsewhere. Jones won't start somewhere else. I don't think. I think it's Jones is either the Giants or not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is that the Giants might not have access to a good enough quarterback to replace him. So I would lean yes if I had to guess. I'm not sure he's really been, until the last game, not this week. This week he was actually fine. But the week before, he was the problem. But this week he was good again.
Mm-hmm. Roller coaster.
Yeah, it wouldn't take much more from Jones to save his job. I don't know why Tua is on such a hot seat, but they just have it's really just because Deshaun Watson wants to go to Miami. That's all it is. It doesn't, if that were not out there, Tua's seat would not be hot. But once you leave, we talked about this earlier, once you go to another location, your odds of succeeding are low, slim to none.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I would bet against him if he went anywhere else. But there are openings. I mean, Washington, Pittsburgh are going to have openings at least. New Orleans,
Denver.
maybe also.
Denver probably.
Denver will have an opening, yeah. So there are going to be spots for these. So there's going to be a whole quarterback carousel again this offseason.
It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be better than this year's.
This year was pretty good.
It was pretty good, but I think it's going to be better.
I think that's very possible because Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson
yeah, the stars won out.
I loved it. I still can't get it over Aaron Rodgers' video. Gonna be playing quarterback for the Packers week 1. I don't know.
Oh my god.
We'll see.
That night feels like years ago.
I know it feels like years ago, but
Schefter just casually dropped it in like 3 hours before the draft. Hey, Rodgers wants out, and it was just spiral from there.
I know.
Oh, what a time to be alive.
So the last thing, I feel like one of the last things we have to talk about, unless you have anything else after this, but this will be the last thing I really wanted to talk about. How do you feel about your Eagles?
I feel like we're going to get a couple high picks. I don't know if we're going to do.
Now, wait a minute. I will want to note that as soon as Miles Sanders got injured, Nick Sirianni decided that was the time to start establishing the run with Boston Scott. That's what he did. The second Miles Sanders left the game, all of a sudden they started running the ball.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Once Boston Scott was available to take carries, then it was time to run the ball. How do we feel about that?
Dude, I'm over it.
Over it?
I'm over it. I mean, Boston Scott is a Philly legend, but
is he?
Well, yeah, he scored. What was it? It was against the Cowboys or the Giants getting to the playoffs, and he scored like 3 times.
Potentially, I don't really remember that.
I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it was one of those games where it was like week 17. It was a playing game, and he just went absolute crazy on whoever we were playing.
I got burned here too because I was like, you can't possibly start Kenneth Gainwell. He's been getting no opportunities of Miles Sanders in the first quarter.
Well, you can't predict injuries, though. So that's
Kenneth Gainwell caught his receiving touchdown before Miles Sanders got hurt.
That is also true. Yeah, then he got work after. I mean,
this was just.
Yeah.
Devonta Smith looked okay.
He looked all right. I mean,
Dallas Goedert was disappointing.
Yeah.
3 for 70 on 5 targets. 3 for 70 is nice. 5 targets, not nice. It's just not good enough. After trading Zach Ertz, 34 pass attempts, only 5 targets for Dallas Goedert. It's not good enough.
No.
Miles Sanders, Boston Scott,
No.
How long is Sanders? What happened to Sanders? You know what? I don't remember. He was carded.
Yeah, he was carded. I gotta look. So I keep thinking it's a chest injury, but that was Josh Jacobs on the other side.
No, that was Josh Jacobs. Who is that's another problem.
At least he has a clear backup though for fantasy. It's Drake.
Yeah, but what about the Eagles now? If Sanders is out, I guess Gainwell will gain some value.
Yeah, I guess. Yes. I'd probably just go with Hurts.
Yeah,
he had 13 rushing attempts. And I'm pretty sure I didn't really watch most of the game. I I was tilting over DraftKings lineups, but
Jalen Reagor scored a touchdown.
did you see the catch?
Which Rager's?
Yeah.
No.
You'll have to watch it later. He went up with 3 people, grabbed it, ran around them into the end zone. I was like, wait a minute, where was this?
Too little, too late, though. I think.
A little too. I'm not saying I'm in on Jalen Reagor or anything. I was just impressed with his touchdown catch.
Yeah, I mean, Kenneth Gainwell had 8 targets and Jalen Reagor had 2. I think that tells you all you need to know.
That'll do it. I mean,
we had a Zay Jones sighting. I saw that catch.
That was impressive.
Is it
look good in relief? I mean,
and Henry Ruggs was a big bust today.
I mean, that's how Henry Ruggs is going to be, though. I think we kind of know that he's either going to score 20 or nothing. Like,
yeah. Also, this annoying use of Jalen Richard is really getting in the way of things. I don't know why they're continuing. They're using him again.
It's been like that for years, hasn't it? Like 3 some years. It feels like 3-4 years.
I kind of like Foster Moreau. It's like obviously he's probably not going to make it on this team, but I kind of like him. I mean, this is already his 3rd year, and he's only 24 years old. I mean, he's the kind of player maybe he signs free agent deal elsewhere. But he'd done like nothing before this game.
Yeah, I mean, if you look good in replacement of Darren Waller, I'll at least, look at it on waivers when it comes around.
Derek Carr only had 3 incompletions today on 34 attempts.
And I'm pretty sure 2 of them were in the first half.
Yeah. Derek Carr.
He was dialed in. Derek Carr is that guy that just produces quarterback 14 numbers, take it or leave it. Like,
no, it's very true.
If you don't get it, no. Trying to look up Foster Moreau is a free agent next year. Yeah.
What are the I love it from Ed
of the metrics.
What are the Eagles gonna do? Are they gonna replace Jalen Hurts?
See, I've mentioned this before. I think they shouldn't,
but they will.
But they will. They need so much help elsewhere. But how he's gonna be like, we gotta keep the quarterback factory running. We gotta keep it going. And we'll probably take that Ole Miss quarterback Matt Corral at 3 or like 2 or whatever, wherever the Dolphins pick ends up.
Do you think that Jalen Hurts gets another chance to start elsewhere or no?
Yeah, he should. Will Howie want to trade him? Will he this is tough because he should, but Howie's that kind of GM to not do that. But then I think Jalen Hurts will try to force his way out of town.
Yeah, I mean, they traded for Gardner Minshew and they've never even activated him.
No, it's always been Flacco.
They have Minshew for 1 more year on his rookie deal through 2022. So I don't know. I don't really know what they're doing. I mean, they have Flacco. I mean, obviously they're not going to re-sign Flacco next year. So they'll have Minshew and then they'll have Hurts. I mean, what are they going to do? What the Bears did and just make Nick Foles inactive? I mean, I guess you could do that, but I just feel like if they drafted a quarterback, they can't keep Hurts on. It would just cause too much of an issue.
Again?
Minshew's a fine backup.
It would cause too much drama again. He'd do
again, yeah.
How he would do it all over again? Same thing?
Yeah, I think he would.
I wouldn't put it past him, but yeah.
I would not put it past him. I mean, Hurts is playing for his job, and the game today was not bad.
Not bad.
It wasn't bad, and it wasn't. But he lost. He lost, and that's what matters. He lost. He lost. Need 50 points from Kamara and Metcalf to win. Am I screwed? I mean, you're not a favorite.
You're not a favorite, but you'd certainly pick 2 worse names to.
You could do worse than that. Yeah. You're not screwed, but you're an underdog, a big underdog.
Hold on. I have to ask. I didn't watch this game. There's one thing I do want to bring up.
Sure.
Aaron Jones with 6 rushing attempts.
Yeah, not good. Not good.
It was a positive game script for most of it, wasn't it? No.
But the funny thing is they didn't really run the ball at all. I mean, A.J. Dillon only had 3 carries. This wasn't a running back. Kylan Hill had 3 also. This wasn't a running back problem. This wasn't a split issue. This was a not running the ball problem. I mean, I suggested A.J. Dillon as a desperation start. That was a disaster. I hope that no one was forced to start him because you got 1.8 PPR points from him. So he gave you nothing.
Looking at me over here.
What? What's up?
I was forced to start him, and it was actually minus negative.
There was a fumble. Oh, he fumbled.
He fumbled, yeah.
So it was negative. So he gave you minus.
Yeah.
So that's no good. And then Aaron Jones, I mean, he had 5 receptions for 20 yards. So that's 7 points right there. So 8.9. I mean, it's still not good.
Still not good for what you drafted him.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have always been out on Aaron Jones for Dynasty. I've never been in. He's older. He's an older rookie. He's a late round prospect. By the time he really started to get high value was my time already. I'm moving on. So he's just someone I've never been in on for Dynasty. I've never really been a part of my Dynasty life. And, I have him always. This offseason, I had him way lower than consensus, and I still do. I have him Dynasty running back 15. So
I probably have him around there too. I think that's appropriate range.
Yeah, but considering I have wide receivers like Chris Godwin and DeAndre Hopkins ahead of him, there's just no chance I would ever have Aaron Jones on any of my teams.
Yeah, I respect that. I
want to ask you, too many games like this.
Mm-hmm.
They shouldn't happen, but they do.
So last week we talked about rest of season rankings for wide receivers. Did Cooper Kupp do enough today to pass Devontae Adams, or is Devontae Adams still 1?
Devontae Adams looked pretty good today.
He did look pretty good today, but Cooper Kupp just looked
Devontae Adams is still 1. Cooper Kupp is 2.
Still the same? No switch yet?
No.
Okay, I was just wondering because Cooper Kupp is absolutely just. I think he's already destroyed his ADP.
Oh well, yeah. I mean,
before,
I made a bet, or not a bet. I mean, we didn't bet anything, but I was adamant going into this week. I'll easily take Cooper Kupp over Stephon Diggs with Jacob Sanderson. I was I'll easily take Cooper Kupp over Stephon Diggs rest of the season. Not even close. Feeling good about that. Feel good about that take. I really do. Because I was adamant about it. I didn't even have them close. I mean, I had Kupp 2 and Diggs 10. So I was they're not, rest of the season, they're not close. I easily want Kupp.
And he's on I don't even know.
He's Kupp Dynasty over Diggs also. I do.
I think at this point, yeah. I mean.
Yeah, I have Kupp Dynasty wide receiver 11. And I mean, it is what it is. He's 28. I mean, he's not going to be higher. I mean, I only have Adams at 9. Because I'm such an ageist. The top 7 is so locked. He can't go anywhere near there. So his ceiling is really 8. I have Terry McLaurin at 8. People raged against that take. They were Terry McLaurin is bad. He's not good enough. He doesn't belong here. Why is he on this list? All that whining. All of that whining. And I was I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. And he had a pretty good game today. I mean, 7 for 122 and 1, right? I mean,
started off with the 40-yard touchdown, yeah.
I know. I saw it. It was a weird play. But I was people are Terry McLaurin is on it. And I was I'm sorry. I must have watched a different Terry McLaurin from the one you're talking about. That's what I wanted to say. I didn't say it on Twitter because people would. Yeah. Luckily, nobody can be mean to me on this show, and they can't interrupt me while I'm talking. So I can say whatever I want. But I want it to be seriously, I don't understand. He's really good. It's not his fault. The quarterbacks suck.
Yeah, Terry McLaurin is good. DJ Moore is good despite quarterback situations. I just
Moore's not good today, I believe.
He had 10 points. I'm pretty sure.
That's not great.
It's not great, but what he was working with, it was kind of
73. Good. I mean, 6 for 73 is not bad. It's not
especially
bad.
Especially the whole quarterback change.
Yeah, it's not. I have 13.3 PPR. It's not bad. It's not good because he didn't score, but it is what it is. I mean, sometimes wide receivers don't score. Nobody scored for Carolina.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, Antonio Gibson, not good.
Yeah.
Not good. Not good enough. He needs to be shut down. He just didn't look. I mean, there was a fumble. Actually, there was a fumble. He got it back, but 14 for 51, 2 receptions for 5. Shut him down. He's not healthy. He is not healthy. You need to shut him down immediately. He can't play right now. You can't play with a stress fracture in your shin. I just don't understand what's so hard for Washington to understand here. I don't get it. Why are you playing one of your best offensive players in a lost season at 2-5 when he literally has a bone that has a break in it in his leg? How is he supposed to play running back properly with that? I just don't understand. You need to give him a couple of weeks off. Give him week 8. Let him take week 8 off and then a week 9 bye and see. Maybe week 10 it's better. Their handling of Antonio Gibson really is just very short-sighted and really just not acceptable. So we'll see. I think they're going to pay for it personally. I really do, because you just cannot continue to play with a stress fracture and expect that nothing bad's going to happen, because it will. That pisses me off, honestly, as someone who, sometimes I get a little bit of a rep as the Antonio Gibson hater, because I'm certainly not. I was just not. I never saw the ceiling projection for him that some did, but I liked him. But as a player that I like, someone I'm rooting for. I was back in the day, like when Darius Geis was still on Washington. Like, I was a huge Antonio Gibson fan. I was like, yeah, pick him in the second round. Like, please, please, please. This is a very exciting player.
That worked.
Yeah, no, it did. And I couldn't have predicted Geis's issues and all of that happening. But I felt good that I recognized the talent, and I was right about that. So as a player that I really like and I believe in, this is something that I'm actually like angry about. I'm frustrated that they refuse to shut him down and continue to force him out there with a stress fracture, because you're gonna cause long-term damage to that bone. As someone who has long-term damage from a stress fracture himself, that's never healed and never will, I just don't want to see this. I don't want to see a promising career derailed by an avoidable issue.
We want to see that second contract.
We want to see him play.
Yeah.
We want to see him heal. We want to see him play when he's 100% healthy. That's all it is. I don't care about a second contract. That's years from now. I just want to get to him being on the field at his 100% healthy. But they're not going to let us get there because they're refusing. They're continuing to play him when he's not healthy. It's just very frustrating. It really has nothing to do with fantasy football at all. Yeah. I just something that I've been not even complaining about, but I just feel like, honestly, I've been like a little, we always say these players, sometimes we forget that these are like people.
Yeah.
Like Antonio Gibson is is a person, not just someone who scores a number of points for us. He's a person. And I don't like that the team is making a selfish decision ahead of what would be his best interest, which would be to sit out some games so he can heal. But,
well, what's Washington really going to do this year? Like,
nothing. And why don't they give Jared Patterson a chance to play some carries and involve J.D. McKissick more in the passing game? He was good in the passing game today. Like he is every week. He was good last week too.
Yeah, you gotta see what you got at these points. Like,
yeah, you don't have to see what you got. It's more like,
Jared Patterson.
We have other options. Why not give them a try and give Gibson?
It's not like you're like, what team am I gonna pick out? Like the Cardinals or the Bucks, something like that. Like 5-1, 7-0. Like you're going for the title.
Right. Yeah,
like,
you're going.
Washington's going for a top 15 pick. Like
they're going for a top pick. Yeah, so they can afford it.
They can afford to shut him down.
Robert Tonyan came back in this game.
Yeah, that was interesting to say.
Don't be fooled. By the way, it's a mirage. Like, get out. If this is your sell window for Robert Tonyan, get out. Like he's not it. He had like 90 yards in 6 games coming into this week. 92. Get out. If this gives you any sell window, get out.
I think it does.
Oh, and then please sell. Don't just get rid of him.
I mean, after his 2020, yes. JT season, let's go. Love to see it.
JT season, you think so?
More carries, still.
Yeah, he had 18 today for 107 and 1. 3 catches, but for only 3 yards.
Yes.
What is going on with Nyheim Hines? They gave him a contract extension, but now he's being misused.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, he dropped
big drop. He had a big drop.
Yeah, that drop was really
on the
bad.
wheel.
I know. That drop was like, oh man,
that was killer. That could have.
Like,
I know they
Nyheim
won.
Hines, Nyheim Hines is one of the best receiving backs in the league. You know, he's on the level of like just below McCaffrey and Kamara. Like he was much less this game. Hines, yeah. Yeah. But no, I mean, Hines as a receiver is not, other than McCaffrey and Kamara, like he's on the level of the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't see him drop a ball like that very often.
The condition, the weather was, I know you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't drop the ball.
You would expect a professional player wide open, especially one of his caliber. It's more of a compliment for me to see him drop a ball like that is so unusual. He never drops anything. I mean, he's one of the best receiving backs in the league. So, unfortunate. But
that was in the middle of the typhoon, though. Like basically,
it was. No, it was. I mean, it is what it is.
That was at the peak of its severity. It seemed like watching the game.
Can you cut Brandon Ayuk in redraft?
I think you can.
1 reception on 1 target for 6 yards. Rotated out for Trent Sherfield multiple times.
What happened? I don't even.
Well, he did muff the punt, and then Kyle Shanahan took him off punts.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So he's so far in the doghouse he can't even return punts.
I don't know.
Redraft, you just cut him.
Yeah.
Cut him. Yeah, in redraft you cut him. This is not Allen Robinson where it's like you can cut him. You feel free to cut him. This is cut him. Brandon Ayuk, I am telling you to cut Brandon Ayuk. Cut him. You don't need him. Cut him in redraft. You're wasting your time.
I mean, we also have years of seeing Allen Robinson be good, so.
Well, here, I would rather have some of these names. These names are people I'd rather have over Brandon Ayuk in redraft. Rashad Bateman had a good game today. Mecole Hardman, I'd rather take my chances. Marquez Callaway, playing tonight. Amon-Ra, another name I'd rather have. Here's some other ones, not pretty names that I'd rather have. Jamison Crowder, take my chances. Maybe he'll get some volume at this point. Nelson Aguilar. Seriously, this is where we are. These are names I would rather have. Nico Collins at least showed some signs of life today. Those are some names that I think I would rather. Honestly, Kendrick Bourne, almost. It's not far off. AJ Green, give me AJ Green over Brandon Ayuk the rest of the season.
If you drafted any Niners with like decent draft capital in your fantasy drafts, you're definitely not having a good time.
Oh, if you drafted Debo, you're very happy.
Oh, I forgot about Debo.
If you drafted Debo, you're very happy. Debo had another big day.
I was thinking of Kittle, Ayuk, and then Trey Sermon still on the mind.
So I'll give you a couple redraft either ors for Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk or Cole Beasley?
Cole Beasley. At least have some weeks.
Brandon Ayuk or KJ Osborne? So this is where we are.
KJ Osborne at least have some weeks too.
Like, I know. This is where we are. Brandon Ayuk or Laviska Shenault?
Shenault, he gets the targets at least.
Oh, yeah. No, Brandon Ayuk rest of the season somewhere in the 50s. In Dynasty, I think also now it's time to punish Brandon Ayuk because it's just been too long of too many failures. Now it's been a whole season of failure. And I haven't talked about this as much recently, but I don't like failure. I've had enough failure. I mean, this is a lot of failure. So, I don't want more failure on my team. So, Brandon Ayuk or Rashad Bateman? Dynasty?
Rashad Bateman.
Kadarius Toney?
I take Kadarius Toney.
At this point, yeah, too much failure from Ayuk. Let's see next. Darnell Mooney.
Darnell Mooney. It's getting similar.
I don't know if I want Darnell Mooney either. Darnell Mooney was, speaking of failure on the Bears, that was another failure.
I still go for Mooney.
I don't want Mooney at all. Mooney's going to drop in my rankings too. So I'll take Ayuk over Mooney. But what about Henry Ruggs?
Give me Henry Ruggs.
I will. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go with Henry Ruggs.
It's just a bad day. He'll rebound.
It gets worse. Brandon Ayuk or Elijah Moore scored today.
That was a nice reverse. But this
is where we are.
Wow. Give me the unknown and Elijah Moore. I'd rather take my chances.
I'll also take my chances
because
I'll win Elijah Moore.
How are you going to get out of Kyle Shanahan's doghouse, especially on punts? On punts now, like you said,
he was taken off punts. Yeah, he's in the doghouse now. Brandon Ayuk or Terrace Marshall?
Terrace Marshall. You just gotta hope that they cut bait with Anderson, even though they gave him an extension.
Yeah, I worry Terrace Marshall's also in the doghouse, so I'll still take Ayuk. He had a concussion, but he was kind of in the doghouse a couple weeks before that. And now they're involving Shi Smith and Brandon Zylstra. They think that these are going to be their solutions. So I just think that this is DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey when he comes back and no one else. So I'm not that interested in Terrace Marshall. So I'll stick with Brandon Ayuk. Then, a couple of older guys. Brandon Cooks.
Give me Brandon Cooks. He's consistent.
Corey Davis.
Why not? Corey Davis. At least he showed something.
So that's where we are.
I think I didn't pick Ayuk once in that whole list.
Just because Chenault. Dynasty.
Chenault.
I don't watch Chenault at all. So maybe I would take Ayuk there. But it's it's bad. I mean, he's about, given the names I said, he's about 15 to 20 overall spots too high. So he's going to have to come down.
And before the season, people wanted almost 2 firsts basically for him.
I'm lucky that I always preferred T. Higgins to Ayuk, and as not great as T. Higgins has been, it's been a lot better than Ayuk.
At least T. Higgins is on the field.
He's on the field, and he had 15 targets. I mean, his 15 targets in this game might be more than Brandon Ayuk has had all season.
Please look, because I think it is.
It's possible. Brandon Ayuk. Oh my God.
It is?
No. John Lynch criticized Brandon Ayuk.
So now he's in the GM's doghouse too.
Yeah, he's in the GM's doghouse. So Ayuk has 16 targets on the season, including this.
Oh, he just
sniffed him out. Yeah, it's not good. Is Kupp the wide receiver 1 in redraft? We talked about this. I said I had him 2 behind Adams. Which is so 2 for me.
I mean, you can make the argument for 1 now.
You could totally make the argument. Chalking Ayuk. Don't remind you. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but unfortunately, I think he's in the doghouse, and until he gets out of the doghouse, which with Kyle Shanahan could be an indeterminate amount of time. We have an issue here. So I don't know when that's going to be. And I am very concerned about whatever's going on with Brandon Ayuk. I don't know what they said. I don't know what they said in the media about Brandon Ayuk, but it's bad. Whatever it is, it's bad. I mean, that's one thing I know is it's not going to be good.
What happened? Like I want a 30 for 30 kind of documentary on what happened to Brandon Ayuk, because he was so good last year, and we all projected that role increase, or a lot of us did at least. And Deebo Samuel took it and ran away with it.
Yeah, no, I mean he's in the. I don't know. I don't know what to say even about Brandon Ayuk. But you know what the sad thing is?
What is the sad thing?
And people can check this. I'm pretty sure Dante Pettis had more fantasy points in today's game than Brandon Ayuk has had all season. I think that may be the case.
If not, it's at least close.
Brandon Ayuk has a touchdown, so it's not the case. But Brandon Ayuk this season, we're through 6 games. 6 games. 9 receptions, 96 yards, and a touchdown. 9 receptions. So 9 for 96 and a touchdown, right? Dante Pettis.
Almost so close.
Yeah, Dante Pettis over the last 2 games, I believe, has outscored him. Over just the last 2. Yeah, over the last 2 games, Dante Pettis has 10 receptions for 87 yards and 2 touchdowns. So in just 2 games, Dante Pettis has delivered more than Brandon Ayuk delivered in 6.
Kyle Shanahan knows me answers. He owes us all answers.
Let's say I had told you before the season that Dante Pettis would have played 2 games and outscored Brandon Ayuk in 6 games. And Dante Pettis had played those games for the Giants. You would have told me that I was completely insane.
I would have lost a bet and had to pay you a lot of money.
Yeah, but that's exactly what's happened. It's crazy. Dante Pettis is ranked higher on the season for fantasy than Brandon Ayuk, despite 2 games to 6. This is where we are. Yeah, no, DeAndre Swift is a god, as Austin said. I agree. And you'll hang your
football. Hashtag analysis.
Nobody has to hang their hat on anything, man. Victory loss.
We're like, that's why we were the weather show. We're like weather people for fantasy football. Like, we try to predict. We're not always right.
You predict what the weather's going to be in 5 minutes. I'm not sure you want to be the weather show.
We're not anymore.
But I remember, weren't you at some point?
We were, but
that was not a good name. I like your current name way better.
So do all of us.
Well,
I did want to bring
given what I just said about what I think about the weather reporters, I don't think you wanted to call yourself the weather show, considering how notoriously bad the weather report is at predicting anything.
Yeah. See, now we just deliver the news. We're good.
I think that's better. I think the weather show was probably giving people the wrong idea.
A little bit, but
it was giving the idea that you guys were bad at predicting things, and that's not true. You guys are mostly, you know me. I only talk about the things that you got wrong, but like
we understand that. But
we understand. I'm a little bit of a harsh critic.
You know what I can't believe we didn't bring up? I can't believe you brought up the Eagles on me and didn't say that Zach Ertz scored for the Cardinals today.
Oh, I mean, that was in a whole different game.
I know, but like former Eagle, I don't know. Just throwing that one out there.
I mean, Zach Ertz had more fantasy points than Dallas Goedert today. He actually caught the same 3 of 5 targets for a large number of yards, except he scored a touchdown.
He almost scored twice. He had a rushing, I believe he had a rushing touchdown that he fumbled.
Oh yeah, with the rushing, he totaled the same number of yards. No, he was just short of the end zone.
Just short.
Yeah. Benjamin got 2 carries today.
Yeah, that was.
Nobody cares.
I still can't believe that game was 2-0 Texans when I looked. I was stunned.
Lasted a very short period of time, but Nico Collins did something.
Hey, Nico Collins is going to, like I said last week, he's going to be the number 1 in that room or number 2 at the bare minimum. Brandon Cooks is going to be gone after this year.
Yeah, honestly, the Texans are a dumpster fire. When Davis Mills is in, you can start Brandon Cooks on a prayer and no one else.
Hopefully Tyrod's close to coming back. I don't know, but
he was not in consideration for this week, so I don't know how close he is, but I would guess that there's a chance he plays this week against the Rams.
Oh, we're in on bad takes regarding the Texans. I'll just throw mine out there. I was one of those people that are like, hey, you could draft Davis Mills in the second he starts. You could trade him for more. Yeah, that didn't happen.
Trade who for what?
You could trade Davis Mills for higher draft capital than you drafted him for.
Yeah, you probably can't do that.
I tried to play that dangerous game of thinking he'd have a decent start, and by the time that game rolled around where he had like 300 yards and like 3 touchdowns against the Patriots, it was too late.
Yeah, I mean, he's not an NFL star. I mean, he might be a backup, but he's not a starter. He's no starter. I mean, we know that. We've seen enough. I wrote that article last week. I don't even need to see this week.
No,
he was in my recap article last week.
He didn't miss much today. Only 155.
And the people, I would suggest I don't talk about my writing very often. My writing is less of I still write, but my writing is less of, I don't want to say less of my focus, but it's a little bit less of my focus in season because I spend a lot more time on Twitter answering start sit and questions like that. Yeah. So my writing is it doesn't take a back seat, but during the off season, the writing is like my primary focus. Like it's my primary medium of content. Whereas during the season, definitely these shows and a little bit of what's it called? The Twitter takes a bigger role. So I'm getting close to 15,000 followers. I need.
You're close. You're gonna make it soon.
Yeah, I need 759 more.
Give it a week.
It's gonna take longer than that. Every follower you get, the easiest, you get the lowest hanging fruit first. Well, this was a pretty good week of football, honestly. There were no really huge, devastating injuries. Usually we start with the, ambulance report. But
yeah,
really this week, I mean,
it's only the Raiders game.
We'll close on that note. I mean, there was Mahomes, but he cleared concussion protocol, so he's good. There was Jacobs and Sanders, but hopefully they're both okay. I was more worried about Sanders. He was carded with a knee. Yeah. Jacobs, they already said he's probably going to play next week. Like, he's probably good. Or they have a bye, so I don't think he's going to miss any time.
Yeah.
Sanders, I'm worried about. So keep an eye on Sanders, and and also Zach Wilson. Those are the two main injuries today. Plus Waller, but he didn't. Yeah, Waller. He wasn't injured.
I think he'll be back too.
But really today in game, I mean, the really only injuries were Jacobs, Sanders, and Zach Wilson, right? I cannot really remember anyone else fantasy relevant that got hurt today.
Well, they were all on a bye or already out. So.
Yeah, there were bye or a lot of people injured, but in the games it was just so really just monitor I mean, you probably didn't want to start Miles Sanders, Zach Wilson much anyway, but monitor those two, especially Sanders, because a knee for a running back is serious. So
yep, and then
he's someone to keep an eye on. Zach Wilson, they did say he's going to miss some time. I just don't know how much people care. Like there's just no way you were competing while starting Zach Wilson. So even in Superflex, you weren't starting him. So people care, but it's not a big fantasy impact. Whereas Miles Sanders, running back is running back. There were some people who were still starting.
So we're already down to like what 13, 12 that you really want to start. Like
yeah. But, if he misses time, you'll have to keep an eye on Kenneth Gainwell and what kind of role he has, and then Boston Scott will get involved somehow. So we'll have to keep an eye on that if he misses time. But I don't want to speculate too much on that because we don't really know what happened. But whenever someone gets carded with a knee injury, it could be a torn ACL. I mean, it could be anything. It could be torn ACL or the MCL injury that Clyde and Monty had, which would be 4 weeks out, so, at least. You never know. Yep. Anyway, I'm pretty happy with this recap. So tell the people one more time where they can find your work.
Well, they can find my tweets, my occasional tweets, as I always say, down here at RyanPros_FF. You can find me on the Fantasy Newsroom now, not the Fantasy Weather Show with Spence and Matt Sunday mornings. And then you can find my writing at the Dynasty Vipers with all of those great people, including Cal, who you co-host with.
I love Cal.
And all those other fine folks.
So I guess I will plug my stuff. I didn't do it this morning, but I'll plug it now since some more time. Ed says, thanks for the recap. You're welcome. So you can find all my articles at that link. It's in the YouTube chat. So just take a look at that. You can find my Patreon at this link. Somehow I got, yes, Team Cal. You find my Patreon at this link. Somehow I got patreon.com/fantasy advice. I don't know how that was available, but it was. So I'm at patreon.com/fantasy advice on Patreon. So you can find my Patreon there, and I won't go into the details, but you'll see on the page everything that I offer: ranking spreadsheets, team management, etc. So, and then subscribe and like this video if you're here, please. That's how the YouTube algorithm knows to show other people the video. So I know you don't want your league mates to see it, but it really would help me. If we want this channel to make it in the long run, it really helps me. Every person who likes or subscribes, just helps me grow the channel and try to make this work as a long-term project. And then I guess the last thing is my Twitter's right there. And you can always catch me on DLF's YouTube channel with Cal, who was mentioned before, doing Ask DLF every Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern. And then back on this channel, do the Thursday show. And then I'll also do every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. And I have a good guest for this week who I will leave a surprise.
Ooh.
So that is everything.
Surprises.
Thanks for listening and or watching or whatever, however you consumed it. And yeah, have a good night.
Peace.